3, 2. All right, and welcome back, everybody, to another live streaming Alternative Money Monday. So happy to see everybody here. Appreciate you joining us. We've got a jam-packed episode this week. We're going to be talking about all things NFT and NFT specs. Really pleased to have a special guest this week. We've got Bionasys, one of our friends from our Twitter family, who is an NFT creator. Bionasys and I met in one of the Twitter spaces where we were having some fun, talking with some Bitcoin maxis and just really generally mixing it up with the crypto space. Had a lot of fun in that one, and we kind of struck up a conversation after that. In general, I find the folks in the Hedera ecosystem tend to be quite rational, well-spoken, and mild-mannered, which is pleasing to come across. So in any case, we're really pleased to have Bionasys join us. I love some of the artwork that he's created, and look forward to talking about some of that stuff. Of course, my name is Jeremy Fletcher, co-founder of Ledgerama, the makers of Wallawallet, the original, the trusted, and the safest mobile wallet in the Hedera ecosystem. Joined this week, gratefully, by my favorite influencer in the Hedera ecosystem, Brandon the H-Bar Bull. Of course, our community manager, Tim Mungai, here as usual. Hey, Tim, glad to have you. And my partner and our CTO, lead developer of Wallawallet, Rob Keynes, here to get into to do some of the tech deep dive stuff. We'll try and keep it as short and sweet as possible. But there's so Wallawallet 2.0 version 2.0 was released in late October, early November, and we're really pleased to see that it's that's running stably, and we're getting a lot of great feedback from our users. But of course, with all the great stuff that Wallawallet supports as far as NFTs, as I've mentioned before, really what I see is the evolution of NFTs and what they're capable of, right? So we're really working hard to move beyond eternal JPEGs. As much as we love the art community and the creator community, we want to provide a lot of utility with the NFTs as well. So of course, there's a lot of great support for stuff like multimedia files. You can do file nesting, so you can have all sorts of files associated with these NFTs to really kind of increase the utility and, like I said, the evolution of NFTs as I see them for all kinds of crazy use cases that we can come up with. But one of the downsides of this kind of increase of complexity, and whenever you kind of increase the complexity of a system, you inherently are inclined to more risk and more potential for things to go wrong, right? And so we've seen a number of things as people are loading NFTs into our wallet, or as people are looking at some of the NFTs that we've created in other wallets, there's some discrepancies around. And so I thought it would be important for us to just take a quick look at the nature of these NFTs. We'll talk a little bit about the Hedera improvement proposal 412, HIP 412, which folks in the Hedera ecosystem are probably familiar with, but others out there may not be. And so we're going to go over all things Hedera NFT related, and hopefully with the hope that folks out there, NFT creators will reach out to us. We really want to open up the conversation of, what do you like about the support that we're providing? What could be different? Are these things that we need to relay back to the improvement proposal? All those sorts of things. So just some kind of bookkeeping stuff. Don't forget that at the very end of the show, we're going to be giving away 10,000 jam tokens to one of our Twitter family members. But sometime in the middle of the show, I'm going to give away a magic number. And folks that respond to info@Wallawallet with the magic number, so info@wallawallet.com is the email that you need to get ready. So get your email clients ready, because the first person to respond to us is going to win an additional 10,000 jam tokens. So we're giving away 10,000 jam tokens to the Twitter family. We're giving 10,000 jam tokens away to the YouTube family. So if you're out there in YouTube land, just let us know. Get those email clients ready. And let me tell you, people are pretty quick with those responses. So get your response ready. As soon as you hear that magic number, you can fire it off either in the subject or in the body of the email. And the first person to do that will get those 10,000 jam tokens. All right, so without further ado, we'll jump into the meat of the topic. As we do that, I would like to give Bionasys a brief minute to introduce himself and talk a little bit about his project.
Hey guys, thanks Jeremy for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very honored to be on the show here. So like I said, I'm a creator on Hedera. I'm started last year in 2021. October, I think I came online, but I was working like 6 months before behind the scenes. So yeah, it's been a really exciting trip until now. And yeah, I see a lot of opportunities coming or emerging, a lot of different kind of applications or things you can do with NFTs. And it's really interesting to see how this world of NFTs is developing. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah. How did you, so if you don't mind, how did you get started in well, first off, what made you decide to become an NFT creator? And then a secondary question, why did you decide to build on Hedera?
Yeah, sure. Well, the first thing, how I became an NFT creator is actually because I was designing before I went into NFTs, and before I invested into cryptos, I was making 3D renders for fun,
Okay.
just for myself. I'm coming from the construction industry, so I was working with parametric design and computational design in the construction industry. So we were generating completely buildings based on algorithms, like a complete building, not manually drawn or something. It's completely based on data analysis, like daylight analysis or acoustic analysis, all kind of analysis, structural analysis, and then we generated complete buildings. And then we can send them to manufacturers, and they can start making parts of this building completely automatic. So I came from the design software in the construction, and then I started investing in crypto in 2017. And then I came across Hedera, and then I got hooked. I don't know why, but I mean, I know why, but in the beginning, I was looking at Ethereum and Bitcoin, and I was hyped about that. And until I came across Hedera, it's just a standalone category. In terms of technical terms, it's just superior to other networks, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, I think you're in good company here. I think all of us that are on the call would certainly agree with that. Solves a lot of the problems that
Exactly.
I feel like once we kind of started to do the deep dive into Bitcoin and Ethereum and saw some of the weaknesses of other distributed ledgers, there's definitely a lot of appeal with HBAR and the Hedera ecosystem. So yeah. Got a lot of agreement on the call here.
Yeah, for sure. Probably.
Yeah.
Well, the main thing, the problem was also like when you're a creator on Ethereum, for example, you just have to deal with the gas fees, and that's just, I mean, if you're not sure that your work will sell, I mean, it's a big risk, as an art creator. You don't make loads of NFTs like utility NFTs do. So for me, that was a big reason not to go on Ethereum. Was basically the gas fees and also the carbon footprint. That were the main two things, where Hedera is very good in that. So super low fees, stable fees, and very low carbon footprints. That was for me the number one reason to go on Hedera, plus all the other stuff you got, like security, the scalability. Hedera is so flexible with the services, and it's so clear to me what kind of network I wanted. And I'm not like the person that want to go for the hype. Like a lot of creators go on Solana or go on Ethereum because there's a lot more folks there. I'm not like that. I'm not like super money driven or whatever you can call it. I'm not a capitalist in that perspective. But I chose the right way in the long term. I think Hedera is a long-term project, and it's already better than Ethereum, in my opinion, even with the merge included. So that for me was the number one reason why I go on Hedera, is the carbon footprint and the low fees. And
the low fees you mentioned, I was looking it up and doing some comparisons. I mean, from what I remember, a 10,000 series NFT series on Hedera, I mean, it's like $76 and some change. Less than $80. So
yeah.
I mean, when Lehman said something like, tokenize the world or tokenize everything, of course, Lehman Baird, the chief scientist and the inventor of the Hashgraph algorithm, He says something like tokenize everything. When you look at the price tag, it's like, okay, well, maybe that is feasible if you can. I'm not. I don't have a whole lot of experience with the other networks, but I believe the cost. Brandon, have you got or any of you really any kind of cost comparisons on printing an equivalent number of NFTs on something like Ethereum?
Well, I don't have because the gas fees are fluctuate with Ethereum, so it's really hard to nail down an actual cost.
Right.
But it really comes down to the efficiency of the network, right? And Hedera is Bionasys here said that it's better even than Ethereum after the merge. Well, Hedera's 5,000 times more efficient than Ethereum after the merge, and it's even more efficient than centralized systems. I know this is payments, but it still goes along the same lines as far as efficiency. It's 100 times more efficient than the Visa network for a transaction. So that's what it comes down to with those fees, and that's the reason why we can keep them so low.
Right. And was it I believe it was the Metrica, was it Metrica that had that did the study on the carbon footprint of and efficiency of Hedera versus others? I forget who it was that generated that report, but there's a great report on that. And Tim, we should leave that link in the description, because there's a great report that just kind of does a nice little graphical representation of the efficiency of the Hedera network versus the others. And it's pretty mind blowing.
It was actually the University College London, so one of the top 10 universities in the world that did that study. And they did that study before they became a council member. So now they're a council member, but it was that study that made them want to be part of the Hedera council. And but since then, there's actually been an additional study that was done by the University of Singapore, and I know there was another university in India that was in on that study that came to the same conclusion, that Hedera is the most efficient. So, we don't have to take one trusted university's word for it. There are multiple sources that point to Hedera being the most efficient.
Was that IIT?
Could be university. I mean, Carnegie Melon University. Was it that one?
Carnegie Mellon was our COQ proof on the ABFT. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Very important as well.
But again, you don't have to take our word for on these things. You can trust these other third parties that do these trusted studies.
Right, and we'll leave some of those links in the description, so folks that are watching, if you want to get a little bit more intel there, you can follow those links when we get them posted up. So let's go ahead and jump into the NFT stuff, right? So I wanted to do a live stream that was based mostly off of NFTs and NFT creation. So let's go ahead and dive into that stuff. So really to kick it off, I think it's, of course, we can't really talk about Hedera NFTs without talking about HIP 412, Hedera Improvement Proposal 412. And a little shout out to Hashpack for the work that they did. We'll probably be talking a little bit about them, but when I started to do a little bit of research, I noticed that Mei Chan was the author of the HIP 412 spec. Now, of course, there was a lot of contributors to the HIP 412 spec. So just out of respect, I just wanted to throw a little shout out to the Hashpack team and Mei and the work that they've done for kicking a lot of this stuff off. But Rob, if you could kind of fill us in, what is HIP 412 and who cares? Why do we care about HIP 412?
Well, HIP 412 is a community managed specification for NFTs, so that different wallet providers are able to implement their features to the spec, so that your NFT will look correctly on all the different wallets and function correctly, so that you can browse through the different files and maybe even view videos and read documents and that kind of thing. So one of the things that you pointed out right before the meeting was that the fact that ours doesn't render in Hashpack, and I might know why. I have to do some more research to confirm it, but can I share my screen? I'd like to show you.
Yeah, let me add you.
I'd like to show you in the Android simulator what I'm talking about.
You are now a co-host.
Okay, great. So let me bring up the Android simulator. And so here's one of our mainnet accounts that we use just for testing. And I've got a couple of NFTs here by Captain Brando on here, which they do render in Hashpack just fine. But then I have the NFT that I created a little while ago. There's only 142 of them minted. And I think the total cost, including creating and minting them, was only a couple of dollars. I think it was less than $3, maybe $2.50 or something like that. So it was relatively cheap. So you can see here, it renders fine in our wallet. If you're a developer, I'm just going to show you this trick. Go here, enable advanced features. You can come back here and now you'll see two new buttons pop up, raw metadata and NFT metadata. If you click on this, you'll be able to see the raw metadata, which is this is the metadata for the metadata field coming from the ledger for this NFT, this particular serial number of the NFT. So this tells me that the file is hosted here. The JSON file that contains the metadata is hosted here. So my suspicion is that it's possible Hashpack may not be supporting an HTTPS, a link to refer to a file by this protocol on a web server somewhere. It may be that they're only supporting NFTs. They're supporting IPFS hosted NFTs. So if I go back and I look at the one of Captain Brando's, you'll see here that he's got an IPFS link, right? So it's referring to a particular NFT on IPFS. It may be that they're just not supporting a centrally hosted NFT like ours is. And ours is hosted this way for a reason right now. The spec is still in flux. So we want to be able to have a demo NFT up here that can change with the spec. And already in the past few months, I've had to modify this a couple of times to keep up with some of the changes in the spec. So if I click on that metadata button, I can actually see the actual JSON metadata for the NFT. So as you browse to the NFT, you can look at the code for any part of it that you're interested in to see how it is constructed and how it works here. And for example, these attributes you have listed here, these properties, we don't support the Boolean property yet. That was added recently to the spec. So we'll support that at some time. Statistics here, you can see birthdays. You can also do timestamps, with dates and times. These are properties that we've added. You can add any number of key value properties, descriptions here. You can add links. And if I click on the link, it'll take me to the website. It'll be, and then now we finally get to the file section. So we are able to browse through files. In this case, there's a hierarchy of files. First, we have the videos, then the photos, and then a PDF document. And this, just to back up a second, this NFT was done using my dog. We turned her into a superhero. She's passed on now, but it was kind of in honor of her. And because I had some videos and photos of her, so it was, kind of easy to do this. So for example, you can browse down here and you can see now another level of the hierarchy where we have 3 different videos here. And you can then click on one of these videos. So the way this is done is by metadata. Each file in the system, there's an array of files and you can include metadata for each one. And the metadata is here. So it'll show you the thumbnail and a description. The description's optional, but it'll show you the name and the thumbnail. And then if I click on this, it'll take me to a browser where I can actually, play and view the video. And, so this one, once it loads up, you can play it in here in the browser. On the iPhone, the browser experience is better because, you can turn it into full screen mode. Android, you can't yet for this, but you can open it up in your web browser and watch it full screen there on the Android. So we're using the Android right now. But you can, look at you can't because you have to have one of these NFTs to be able to see it. Unfortunately, that's a feature that we're considering adding to Wallawallet is the ability to browse anybody else's NFT. But if you have this NFT, you'll be able to see the metadata easily from the screen. And we're going to provide in the deep dive video that we have when I actually created the links to the JSON, so that you can see those. You'll be able to see those links there. But
so I just wanted to kind of open it up real quick to any questions, and I also wanted to ask Bionasys. I noticed that it looked like Brandon might have a question or something that he wanted to interject. Did you have a comment on there, Brandon?
Hey, I can always come out with stuff. No, I thought that what you guys did with this, highlighting how you can have multiple files, it highlights something that's really important about Hedera NFTs. And I was talking to the Digital Commodities Exchange just a few days ago, and they were talking about tokenizing their contracts for trading. And there's multiple aspects to it, right? You have to have the finance for one of those contracts. You have to have the insurance for one of those contracts, and they can add those additional files to everything in that tokenized asset. Same thing with, we're starting Twigital, and I heard Bionasys talking about 3D renderings. That's what it's going to do. It's going to allow you to take 3D renderings of any object and then tokenize that. And we really want that to be a utility for people that are getting appraisals done, for people that want to authenticate the condition of objects, things along those lines. And you can then do that with all the ID stuff that's happening in the space. You can have authenticators authenticate it and then have the original file, which is the 3D rendering, and then you can have, in addition to that, you can have, those other files of authenticity and, a receipt or whatever other files you want to attach to it. So even though we're just starting to scratch the surface of what's possible, it's going to have real value add implications once this really starts to take off, not just in the crypto world, we're just, proof of concept phase. It's once we get to that next step, what's really going to be interesting, what we can do with NFTs in the long run.
Oh yeah. So
I was also thinking about even the real estate industry. Let's say you have a piece of property somewhere and you actually manage to render it in 3D, and you can include that as a part of the NFT as well as the title deed, and you can also link up the other files like a video around the property itself, and it can show you that you own this property and this is how it looks like. And maybe if we get to that point someday, somebody can pay you in HBAR, like $200,000 worth of HBAR, and just transfer the entire property, and they don't have to go to the actual location and see it, because everything is just verified and you can see remotely. Perhaps it's just something I was thinking about in my mind.
Maybe in the future that'll be 40,000 HBAR.
Right.
Hopefully less.
So
I agree. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. That's fine.
I agree with that. Like for the real estate, since I come from the construction industry, we were basically making digital twins. So you can actually have a digital twin in there, and then actually, break down the digital twin in different parts where your kitchen is coming from, your sofa is coming from. I mean, you can build a whole structure here, and you can look up where all things are coming from. Are they legit? What's the manufacturer? I mean, what type of material? Where is the material coming from? Is it a green material? Does it involve slavery or things like this? You can all track. And personally, for myself, having a piece of paper with the NFT to show that it's real, that it's authentic, it's really important. Also towards regularization, adding bills with the NFT, so I can, with my accountant, arrange everything according to the law here in Belgium, because today is still a bit under the hood, I would say. You have to make your own bills. You have to ask for an email address and all that stuff. If this could just merge within the NFT, that would be so much more easier for both parties.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can really that's one of the things that I love. That's part of the reason I love talking about this stuff, because you can really let your imagination run wild. I mean, there's, we are like Brandon mentioned, I mean, we're just kind of scratching the surface, but the potential for what you can do with these is really pretty incredible. Bionasys, I do have a couple more questions, but I know Rob had some other things that he wanted to cover. So I'm going to let Rob cover a couple points, and then I just kind of wanted to ask Bionasys about his experience minting NFTs initially and what that looked like. But
sure,
Rob, just go ahead with some of the stuff that you wanted to cover.
Yeah, just a couple of quick points, and like I said, the actual minting of this was done in a separate video, which Jeremy has had in his queue for about a month or so now, and it's going to go out at some point soon, so that you can see the whole process that I went through to create the NFT.
Right.
However,
we should be able to release that before the end of the day.
Okay. So I just wanted to mention, because I actually spoke with another company recently about the NFT spec and noticed that, different companies that are creating ways to create NFTs, they ought to be aware that, this file structure is recursive according to the spec. And I pointed that out to them in the spec. But one of the things to keep in mind is that the metadata that's associated with each file is also recursive. So, for example, here we have a video file. The MIME type is required. You have to put that there. We have the URL to the video there as well. But we also have the metadata here. And the benefit of putting that metadata there, it helps browsers to create a really nice browsing experience, right? They can put the name, the description, which is optional. They can put a thumbnail image here, which is also defined here, along with the the type. And just as one point too, we noticed that another NFT creator out there was creating MIME types incorrectly. Image.jpg is not a MIME type. The correct MIME type is image/JPEG. But we did update Wallawallet very quickly this week so that we do support both, even though that is an incorrect MIME type. So the only things that we don't support in this spec, off the top of my head that I can remember now, is the Boolean attribute here. You know, for the different attributes, we support the text, the percentage, the boost, and the others. There's a feature called isDefaultFile, which we really need to implement at some point. And the importance of that is that, and let me just stop the sharing here and go back to the other screen real quick. So default file, is this it? No, where is it? Boy, all right, I'm having trouble finding my emulator here. But anyway, I won't worry about it. But default file is there for, it's strange that I can't find it. Actually, this might be it.
It gets a little tricky when
Yeah.
you got
All right, here we go.
windows open and trying to navigate the live stream and all that. I understand.
Yeah, so from a development standpoint, one thing to consider is NFTs can be infinite. You can have an infinite number of NFTs associated with an account. So of course you don't want to be loading large movies every time you render an NFT. So the proper way to do it is by using a thumbnail photo for the actual asset here. And the new property is default file. When that's properly set in the file in the metadata, it will point to the correct file in the files array. And as you saw before, we had files where you can click on the blue icon to get to it. So in the future, when we do support that, I'm not sure when that's going to be, but you'll see a blue area here and you can click on that and then go to the actual asset, which could be a very large asset. So the other thing that's not supported in Wallawallet yet is the image checksums. That's the idea there is if you have an image like this, maybe you're getting it from a web server and the creator of the NFT wants to verify that only a specific image is used. And if they modify it on that third-party web server, that it's not displayed. So that feature is not there. So we'll always display that. Internationalization probably works, but I think there was a change in the spec since I tested it. So that's kind of in the backlog for us. We'll get to it at some point, but it was implemented. And there was, let's see. So that's it. That's basically it. I mean, we're curious to hear feedback from you guys, developers, NFT developers and users, about any suggestions for improvements, anything that we can change. But we've covered the spec pretty well. There are so many MIME types out there. We've covered the most important ones to the best of our ability. We are, YouTube links will be supported better in an embedded player coming soon. So if you wanted to use YouTube links in there, the experience will improve pretty shortly with the files there. And we do support the 3D models as best as we can now. We're also making an improvement on one of the Android ones there as well. But that's pretty much all I had. There's a lot more details in the videos that Jeremy's got ready to release.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we just really, and like Rob mentioned, we just highly encourage folks to, to reach out to us, open up that, open the door. Let's have a conversation. We'd love to learn more about the troubles that you have, the positive experiences that you've had, the troubles that you've had, whether it be with with Wallawallet or whether it be just with the minting process or NFTs in general. So I'm going to take a quick minute. So for the YouTube audience out there, so folks that want to win 10,000 jam tokens, you might be able to guess what our magic number this week is. The magic number for the week is 412. 412 is the magic number this week. So email us at info@wallawallet.com with the magic number 412, and you're going to win 10,000 jam tokens. And at the end, we'll announce the other 10,000 jam token winner from our Twitter family. But real quickly, before we get into the end of the show here, I just wanted to ask Bionasys about his experience minting NFTs. What services did you use? What troubles might you've run into? What was your experience like?
Yeah, sure. The first NFT I ever mint on Hedera was on GoMint. I think you guys all know this platform.
Oh yes, we remember it well, and I believe it's coming back too.
Yeah, they're doing quite some updates and upgrades these days. But in the beginning, it was quite a pain in the ass, if I must say that.
Yep, understood.
You also didn't mint the token yourself; they minted it for you. So it's custodial minting.
Right.
So I only minted one, the Hedera on Hands NFT. It's called. Only 10 of them, and they sold out in like 5 minutes or something.
Nice.
Yeah, I was refreshing the page and I was like, the supply is gone, and I was like, is this a bug or something? And I was refreshing. I was keep on refreshing this, and I was like, no, they're actually gone. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I kept going and going, and but I only minted one on GoMint, and then I went to Exact Wallet. That was the second minting application
Yes.
from Baptiste. But yeah, it all went okay-ish. This was quite a okay-ish application to use. It was quite user-friendly. But then something happened with the security that leaked out that they weren't signing locally, but they were signing transactions on their server. So they were kind of exposed, and there were questions about, do they keep the private keys or not? I mean,
Right.
there were some security issues with that.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate chapter in the history of the Hedera ecosystem.
Yeah, because
they were doing great, Baptiste. I mean, they were doing great work, and but and this is one of the reasons that Rob and I have Rob in particular. I mean, is really kind of hammered on the need for security first, because all it takes is one little slip up like that, and then a lot of your hard work and blood, sweat, and tears can kind of go down the drain in one fell swoop if you make one kind of drastic mistake like that.
Yep.
Exactly. I can still remember that it was like around the Christmas period last year,
right?
And I was making NFT as a giveaway for Christmas, and I just couldn't at that point, and like I think the whole space was coming to a halt. It was like really blocked by this thing, and there was like for 1 month, I think it was really calm on the Hedera and NFT space because of the issue.
Right.
So then Hashback came. They started developing a new wallet. Of course, you cannot mint with Hashback, but Hashback was a really savior back then,
right.
For the space. And then I started minting with the Exact SDK with the software developer kit. They had a software developer kit, so I minted with that also. But then after the security breach, I started looking for other applications like Hash Access was a platform, but I was also not really happy with the way they do minting. It's also custodial minting, so it's not the real, it's not really me that's creating the NFTs. It's another account ID, and for me, I felt something wrong in this process, because it looks like the NFT doesn't belong to me. It's like it's belonging to somebody else, and that's why I stopped minting on Hash Access. But these days I'm minting with Kabila and Cloud Art one time.
Awesome.
So Kabila is nice. It offers all the features I need. Especially it's like a standalone application. You're not depending on a marketplace, or you just do your own thing, and that's really important as a creator, that you're not fixed or tied to some organization or platform. You just want to mint an NFT, and you want that all these NFTs are showing up in all wallets, in all platforms.
Right.
You don't want to deal with, I'm going to choose for this platform or choose for that or that. You just don't want that. You just want to reach as many possible people you can, and it should be compatible with all platforms. And Kabila is doing that for the moment. So yeah, they're doing the thing I needed, and they really came like a savior to me as well.
How low level do they? I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
How low level do you have access? Do you have to the NFT? Can you construct the JSON yourself, or do they do that for you based on their interpretation of the spec?
I believe they last month they did an update on that, and I think you can make your schema yourself. You can also do like 10K NFTs at the same time. You can do that with JSON files and the right metadata provided. So yeah, they're doing updates constantly. It's also a young platform.
Right. Yeah, we actually had a nice
it.
conversation with Kabila on Friday. One of the, I believe, one of the co-founders. But at any rate, we met in the HBAR Foundry meeting that happens every Friday, and had a really great conversation. Really sharp guy, and tons of great information. So, and we look forward to having him on the show as well. He wasn't able to make it today, but I wanted to have him on. I was hoping to get him on today, but we'll definitely continue that conversation. Kabila, Kabila is how that's spelled.
That's right.
Brandon, have you covered Kabila in any of your interviews or videos yet?
I haven't had any of them on for an interview, but we've certainly covered them. They did get support from the HBAR Foundation, and there's a blog post about them. Yeah, they're a great addition to the ecosystem. That's for sure.
And
Exactly.
Bionasys mentioned mentioned last year the Hedera Holidays party. So so I wanted to take a little opportunity here to plug the Hedera Holidays party. So I have to say, I have to say that the HBAR and Hedera Holidays party have been a lot of fun. I actually believe I was the one that did the first HBAR Hedera Holidays party back with Cooper Coons and Alex Taylor from GoMint and myself. That was back in 2020, I believe it was. And then last year we had a lot of fun with the HBAR Foundry, but the Hello Future Buzz team and teamed up with Patches and the Turtle Moon Launchpad. They did an incredible job last year, raised an incredible amount of money for charity, and they're at it again this year. So Brandon, do you have any more of the details for that, for the Hedera Holiday Party? It's coming up this week, and apparently I didn't even realize, but this is Hedera Ecosystem Week. So that as I was poking around this morning, I saw that this is Hedera Ecosystem Week. So timely, timely occurrences. Do you have a little bit more information about the Hedera Holidays Party?
Sure. So like you said, it is the Hedera Ecosystem Week, and Hedera and Swirlds Labs has all kinds of content coming out around that. It is separate from Hello Future Buzz and their holiday party, but they're certainly going to be involved, and that's going to be pretty much an all-day event. They're going to be auctioning off using a Dutch auction, auctioning off all kinds of NFTs that were donated throughout the day on Thursday, I think at 4 p.m. Eastern and then 5 p.m. Eastern. So they're going to have kind of a red carpet thing around 4 p.m. and then 5 p.m. they're going to have the main event where they're going to run through all kinds of stuff, and Mance and Lehman are going to be on there, and the charity that they support, the Women's Caldwell Women's Center, I believe it's called, they're going to be on there as well. And of course, I loved what they did last year, and I wanted to get involved this year. I did donate a few NFTs. The One Center, I know I've shown that on here before. So I'm going to have the One Center, and if you're in the US, I'm going to send out a couple of those physical coins as well. And awesome. Then, but because we are going to be selling the rest of the One Centers probably in Q1, I want to make sure I added something special to this one. I have a signed t-shirt, Hedera Hashgraph t-shirt, signed by Mance and Lehman, so I'm going to include that. Oh, wow. And then I'm also going to auction off one of the HBAR Bull airships, so that's going to be in there as well. But there's going to be all kinds of NFTs for anybody that's interested, and it's for a good cause. So come out on Thursday and see what's going on, bid a little bit, and have fun with us for that holiday party.
And there are, and just so folks are aware, there are five of the M-Dog tokens available as well. So the Amy, the super meta dog M-Dog token from Ledgerama, our first NFT mint, there will be 5 of those available as well, and some nice benefits that come. Some nice benefits. Basically, there's 142 of the Alpha Amy M-Dog tokens. That represents the maximum capacity of our VIP room. So folks that possess the Amy token, we're working on some. We want to hear more from the VIPs about what it is, what benefits you'd like to see, but we have a couple ideas and some things that we'll be announcing about what possessors of the Alpha Amy M-Dog token will, what benefits they will receive. So yeah, so that was it the 15th? I believe it's the 15th. Yes?
It's Thursday the 15th. Yep, it's an all-day event, but if you can't make it to the whole thing, don't miss at 5 p.m. I believe 5 p.m. Eastern is going to be the main event, and they're probably going to summarize everything that happened throughout the day.
Awesome. So before we wrap this thing up and announce our Twitter family winner of the other additional 10,000 jam tokens, Bionasys, were there any last minute things that you wanted to throw into the conversation? Anything that you want to any websites that you want to direct people to, or any of your projects that you'd like people to take a look at? Anything you'd like to add?
Yes, sure. There's a new collection coming this month.
Great.
That I made 2 months ago, I think. Yeah.
Very cool.
It's together with Cloud Art, the Cloud Art platform.
Okay.
Don't know you guys know them.
Oh yeah.
It's together with them. We're gonna launch at 19th of December normally, so it's gonna be in 1 week or so.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
And what's the best way for people to learn about that and to get more information?
You will see on my Twitter page or on the Cloud Art Twitter page. We're going to start the marketing soon. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this,
Awesome.
and I'm also looking forward to the giveaway on Christmas this week. So yeah, exciting times. Like always on Hedera, it's growing so hard. Yeah,
Yes.
I can't follow anything anymore. It's crazy.
I know it. I know it. I struggle with that too. So much information coming out.
Exactly.
So all right. So and the last before we announce our Twitter winner, Brandon, I love getting the Market Mondays. Have you got the intel to give us a Market Monday update before we wrap this live stream up?
Sure, I could run through a few highlights. Of course,
right.
not financial advice. I know Bitcoin is down over the past 24 hours, just under 1%. Same thing over the past week or so. HBAR down a little bit more. It's down about, let's see, about 4% over the past 24 hours, about 3% over the past 7 days. But when you look at the rest of the crypto market, it's doing fairly well. We had some good catalysts last week, so it's holding up fairly well compared to the rest of the crypto market. The main things that we're going to be looking at are from the macro standpoint. So tomorrow, the CPI, the U.S. inflation, is going to come out, and that's certainly going to influence what the Fed does. Very following day, they're going to be coming out with their announcement on what the interest rates are going to do, or what they're going to put those short-term interest rates at. They're thinking it's going to be, or the general consensus is 0.5%. So if it comes out, if they do 0.75%, which they've done the past few meetings, which I don't expect, it'll certainly hit risk assets really hard. If inflation comes out fairly soft, they will certainly probably come in at that 0.5% number. But if they come in at anything less than that, if they come in out at a 0.25% raise or anything along those lines, it's certainly going to be a boon for risk assets across the board, and certainly crypto and HBAR is certainly part of that. So that's what we're going to be looking at this week. Of course, there's always good news coming out about Hedera. We had a lot of stuff about tokenization in traditional financial markets last week, but of course, we do follow what the rest of the crypto market does in particular, and of course, the risk asset complex in general. So yeah, that's what we'll be looking at this week. It's going to be all about macro trends and macro big announcements that come out around the Fed and inflation. So we'll keep a close eye on that on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Always fun to try and read the tea leaves, right? What does the FOMC and the folks over on the Federal Reserve Board? What can we read about the tea leaves? Always fun to do that. Well, great. Thanks for that update, Brandon. Really appreciate it. Highly encourage everybody to go check out the HBAR Bull YouTube channel. You can search YouTube HBAR Bull and you'll find it. Tons of incredible information every week. Just blows my mind how much is coming out all the time. And Brandon, your channel is, and Rob is convinced I have to watch everything at like 2 times speed now. Because there's just so much information. There's no way you can possibly consume it all in a 24-hour day.
When I first started doing it, it was 10, 12 minutes, and it's always above a half an hour. And now we're starting to push up closer to an hour. So yeah, there's all kinds of information that's coming out. I try to cover everything in the ecosystem, but it's hard to do, like you're saying.
It is. There's a lot.
Yeah. Really
So before we wrap up,
Tim.
I just wanted to ask Bionasys, our guest, what his long-term vision is, given I specifically liked that you have a background in construction and you design buildings. Is there any way that in the foreseeable future you see how your project will morph into something? It's just a thought I had.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, because it's true. I have this construction background, so there must be something on the long term, is it? So yeah, there is actually. I was really interested in 3D printing and biomaterials. I don't believe I can say a lot about this, but the long term is going to be 3D printing and NFTs, and with sustainable materials, not with plastic, but biodegradable materials, biocompostable materials, stuff like that. That's on my long-term project. So I would like to connect NFTs to 3D printing services, and starting on a small scale, and then where it can end. I don't know. Maybe houses. I don't know.
I see some collaborations with Twigital.
You read my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I was
We'll
thinking that too.
Yeah. There's a lot of potential in there, and people can start printing at home, and you can decentralize stuff. And I believe that everybody will have a 3D printer in 10 years, between now and 10 years or 20 years. I think so. Like we have 2D printers today, we will have 3D printers to print stuff at house with garbage, with waste. You will
It's
see.
the first step to the replicators, right? We're gonna, before too long. I as a kid, watched those Star Trek episodes, and I always thought, oh man, if I could just replicate a cup of hot cocoa instantly, how cool would that?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So-
print at home in just a matter of seconds or
right,
minutes.
right. That's the first step. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Bionasys, I can't thank you enough for joining us. It's been a real pleasure having you. I look forward to continuing the conversation. And like Brandon mentioned, looks like there's some kind of there's definitely some potential for collaboration there between Twigital and whatever it is that you've got going in the future. But again, we just really thank you being here, and hopefully we'll have you back on the show one of these days. Maybe when we get Kabila on, maybe you can join us again.
Yeah. Sure.
So I want to announce the 10,000 Jam token winner from Twitter is at Crypto Sasa. So Crypto Sasa is our winner for the 10,000 Jam tokens. Look forward to reaching out to them via Twitter. Again, thanks everybody for joining us. All you folks out there in YouTube, really appreciate you being here every week. Come back again next week. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Discord, join us, come and open that conversation. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to give us a like and hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with the news coming out of Wallawallet, Ledgerama, Brandon the HBAR Bull, and all the stuff going on in the Hedera ecosystem. And again, just want to thank everybody for being here, and we will see you folks next week. All right, thanks everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeremy.
Thanks, Bionasys. Talk to you next time.
Ciao. Thank you.